Hello and welcome everyone. I'm your host Kuhu from DealMirror, and today we have Mr. Abhi with us from the Mutant Mail team. Guys, here I want to specify that Abhi is very reassuring, well informed, and an expert in his field. And today he will share some insights about the product Mutant Mail and how efficiently we can use it. Hi Abhi, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good actually. What about you?
Thank you so much for asking. I'm fine. I'm good.
All right, great to know that.
I'm sure many of you must have faced the problem in maintaining multiple emails from so many domains. You must be then searching for email management tool. Then you are at the very right place. Mutant email, as the name suggests, it transforms, changes the handling of your different domains email from a single inbox. So, Abhi, how did you start your journey? And how did you get the idea to invent this tool?
Okay, so it all started with a small DMCA complaint that we received. That was around almost an year back. We received a DMCA complaint on a different service that we run. It's called incisors.com. It's a URL shortener. So someone decided to create a phishing website for Netflix and shortened the link via us. And instead of sharing that link directly, they started sharing our shortened link. So we received a complaint, DMCA complaint from a
Mm,
team hired by Netflix,
mm,
and it was sent to our legal handle.
mm.
So apparently, you know how it goes, right? On every domain, you have almost like 4 or 5 email IDs. Some even have 20 email IDs. It's
Yeah.
very common. It's not a
Mhm,
exaggeration to say that 20 email IDs exist on a domain. And on
mm,
top of that, we maintain most of the people who are into any kind of entrepreneurship, small businesses, so on and
mm,
so forth. They have at least 5 domains. So you
mm.
multiply it by 5, we are looking at 25 email IDs. So obviously, unless you have a dedicated team, you cannot monitor those email IDs.
Yeah.
And how often you get emails in, let's say, your legal handle? Almost none. So
Yeah, exactly.
we were lazy, just like every other person that you see. We did not monitor. We are supposed to monitor it every 24 hours. We
Mm,
missed it.
mm,
And so the complaint was also forwarded to our hosting provider.
mm,
They mailed us.
mm.
Surprisingly, they also decided to mail us on our legal handle instead of the email ID registered with them.
Okay.
So next day we missed it, and it was a email which directly said you need to fix it within 24 hours, or I believe it was 18 hours or something like that,
Mm,
or we will take you down.
mhm,
Okay, so we missed it. Our service went down, and then we have monitoring set up on all our websites, services, and everything. So uh, I started getting text. I started getting emails that this service is down, and I was like, "Holy shit, what happened?" Suddenly on multiple websites, right? So we went to our hosting provider. We checked with him. They enabled us. I believe we were down for close to 1.5 hours or 2 hours.
mhm.
So pretty fast response from our hosting provider. And then we obviously removed that link which was causing all this havoc. But then we realized we need a way to monitor so many email IDs. So
Yeah.
just like any other person who thinks that email clients are a very good tool, what we started is we went to we set up email IDs on our hosting providers, some on Google Workplace, and so on and so forth, every place.
Mm,
We embedded IMAP and SMTP settings in the email
mhm,
client, but then we had close to 10 or 12 domains at that point, main domains that we were actually had websites, some sort of website on,
mm,
and email IDs close to 25 or 26.
mm.
So our client was looking like a mess. Too many directories, too many drop downs, and I was not happy with it. I mean, come on, if I just wanted the directories and the drop down, it's not a very good way. So then I figured out that there is an email forwarding service. It has
Mm,
been there since eternity.
Hmm.
registrars give it. But
Hmm.
the problem with that is you can monitor easy, but
Yeah.
then when you need to reply, you need
Hmm.
to actually go to their tool,
Okay.
uh, figure out your credentials and whatnot, go
Hmm.
log into their tool, and then you respond to it. Search for that email back, respond to
Hmm.
it. That is how the flow goes with normal
Yes.
forwarding.
Hmm.
So we needed a way out.
Yeah.
So we brainstormed and came, and this tool previously was not built as a SaaS. It was built to solve our own problem of this email
Yeah.
problem.
Mhm.
And there did not exist a good tool that can do all this. So
Yeah.
we built one, but then we actually ran it for our 26, 27 email IDs. We realized it has a huge potential for SaaS because there are so many entrepreneurs, hustlers, and small business owners
Exactly.
who don't have
Yeah.
a dedicated team. A lot of people are one man army who are running their
Exactly.
own businesses,
Yes. Yes.
and then you have your agency providers who are maintaining for their clients also. In
Hmm.
fact, now I can say with confidence, I have a customer uh, who is managing 100 something email IDs for their clients. Okay,
Wow.
so
Hmm.
she is doing that on tabs, email literally on Chrome tabs.
Mhm.
That's too much. That's
Yeah.
not worth it. So
Exactly.
we built this tool, we tested it out, it works. We showed it to a couple of more folks.
Hmm.
The response was good, and then we
Hmm.
had a launch.
Okay. So nobody has an easy life. We all face challenges in our daily lives also. But this is work front, and we have to satisfy the needs of people in a better way. So,
Correct.
what hurdles or difficulties do you face while innovating this tool?
For a lot actually, because we when we started, we just had an idea. Okay,
Hmm.
then it became a theory or a thesis that it should work like this. See, we all know the emails are controlled by your DNS records.
Yeah.
Okay, we all know this. Or there are, you run a website, you have a DNS entry. You
Hmm.
send emails, you have a
Hmm.
DNS entry. But
Hmm.
there is so much masking that these big guys do, these big providers do, that people don't realize how emails work.
Hmm.
Okay, what are the records that you just make one click, they embed their records, and you don't even know about it. Okay,
Yeah.
so at the
Yeah.
end, everything runs on the DNS side.
Hmm.
So we created a thesis that if we get ownership of that domain,
Hmm.
then we should be able to control where the email goes or how to route it. And
Hmm.
the forwarding part was pretty easy. The
Hmm.
challenge was how,
Hmm.
when someone replies to that email, how
Yeah.
do we mask the
Hmm.
sender,
Hmm.
which now we call recipient email ID or
Yeah.
control email ID? How we
Hmm.
mask that and then send the email via actually your domain so that your customer or client actually sees the response
Hmm.
from your email ID. Okay,
Hmm.
because that is what you want at the end of the day, right?
Yes. Right.
Receive an email for an email ID and send a response via that email ID. That is the
Exactly.
primary use case.
Yes.
So we did a few things on the DNS side. We do so the portal that people see, and sometimes I keep on hearing complaints about it is not being very modern look, but
Hmm.
the code piece that people see, it is only just the 10% of what is happening behind the scene. It is
Yeah.
just a management portal. The
Yes.
main logic is behind the scene, which is doing all this routing. Nobody
Hmm.
sees that. That is
Really.
the meat of the product, right?
Right. Right. So, Abhi, it will be very helpful if you can provide us with a quick presentation from your side so that our doubts on how to use it can be answered.
Yeah, sure, sure. Let me share the screen. Okay, you are able to see my screen,
Yes,
right?
yes, it is visible, Abhi.
Okay, great. So let's start from the basic. So I have a domain already set up here, but
Hmm.
it has failed verification checks because I kept on messing with their DNS records. And basically, when you need to add a domain, these are a couple of records that you need to make an entry into your
Hmm.
DNS portal.
Hmm.
I have already done that.
Yes.
And this is how it looks like when it is uh, when the entries are made. Of course, you can have a number of more records
Hmm.
depending on if you are running a website there or what you are using a autoresponder or whatever you are doing. You
Hmm.
can use any parallel system for
Yeah.
sending emails while your domain is attached with Mutant Mail, and you can host a website also there. We
Okay.
can solely be your receive, reply, and send system, or you can have a parallel system if you are doing a cold mailing, or if you are doing a mass mailing, or if you are using active campaign, and anything else. So let me just do a recheck. Okay, so now you have a green check mark. So this domain is active now, and I have couple of email IDs associated with it. To create an email ID, this is also very simple. You just select the domain from the drop down. You select whatever email ID you want to create here, and let's say you want to create Abhishek at the rate toolsweb.com. Just hit it and done. You have an email ID ready. As simple as that.
Okay.
And you want to set a display name. Okay, let's set it. Tools. So basically, this will be visible when a email is received by your client or customer. This will be the name given to the this email ID. Pretty simple. So by default, you will see it is using the account level routing. The routing is done at 3 levels.
Hmm.
By default, it will use the whatever email ID you signed up with. But you
Okay.
have option to override it at the account level, or you
Okay.
have option to override it at the email ID level. And of course, you can choose even multiple email IDs if you want to use multiple email IDs to
Hmm.
control this particular alias or email ID. Very, very simple.
Okay.
And we do have, if people are feeling overwhelmed, we do have a video guide of 13 minutes, which will get you started with everything top to bottom. And of course, the support team is also there if there is a problem. So since everything is set up,
Hmm.
my email ID is active and all. So I'm just going to, the emails are at the moment being forwarded to my default email ID, which is srch09@gmail.com. So
Yeah.
this will be my control email ID, and
Okay.
Abhishek@toolsweb.com will be the email ID I will be demonstrating for. So I'm just going to use a third email ID. It's called mmwarmup@outlook.com. I was using that to test our warm up feature. So I'm just going to use that. Let me copy the email ID. So assuming this Outlook email ID is the customer or the client writing to you on
Hmm.
your domain, which is toolsweb.com. And I'm just going to say customer. Yes. Very simple, right? I'm just going to skip the body part and let's see. So within a minute,
Hmm.
this email, since it is associated with Mutant Mail, it is going to route through our servers behind the scene,
Yes.
and it will arrive at SICH07. See,
Right. Right.
this one arrived at my Gmail ID.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a Gmail ID completely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the reply button here, responding to customer. Very simple. I'm just going
Hmm.
to hit it, and let's give it a minute, because the Gmail takes gives you that undo thing nowadays, right? So you need to wait few seconds because Gmail itself takes time
Time.
to
Yeah.
uh, yeah, to send to our servers. So within a minute, the
Hmm.
email will be sent, and you see, I have received the mail. And if
Hmm.
you will see, the email is actually from Abhishek@toolsweb.com.
Yeah.
And this is the response I got.
Hmm.
I wrote, and if you will notice, there is nowhere the Gmail is mentioned. Gmail ID is mentioned.
Exactly.
It is
Yes.
nowhere.
Hmm.
Okay. We also have very interesting feature because I kept on getting asked about this one.
Okay.
So let me just enable it. It is in beta, so it comes under experimental feature of ours. It's the signature one. So I'm just
Okay.
going to click on enable it.
Yeah.
So if I refresh it now, I will get a new button here for signature.
Yes.
For demo purpose, I just going to copy a signature
Yeah.
that I have from somewhere. I'm just going to paste it, the HTML format below and the
Okay.
text format,
Mhm.
save it. So the signature is saved. Now, every time a response is made or
Mm.
email is sent for this particular email ID through our servers, we will embed that signature.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take the previous mail and I'm going to say responding with signature. All right. So
Yeah.
this time, when the email is sent to my Outlook ID, which was the customer ID, it will
Mhm.
have the signature automatically embedded, even though it is not being shown here.
Yeah.
So let's just give it a minute. Yeah, you see this? This is the signature I attached in the HTML format.
Okay. Yes.
And of course, the masking and all is uh, there. And this is the name is exactly Abhishek from
Mhm.
Tools Web that I gave in the portal, and so on
Mhm.
so forth.
Okay. So, can you highlight the one feature which makes
Mhm.
Mutant Mail different from its competitors?
Oh, we don't have a competitor actually.
You don't have any competitor till now.
Now we have blown whatever comes close to competition out of water actually, because in any tools
Hmm.
who are actually stating that
Yeah.
they can do email forwarding,
Mhm.
they are not really doing it on the server side. Okay,
Okay.
whatever unifying system people are saying, they
Mhm.
are doing it on the client side.
Okay.
And if you compare with very few existing ones which come
Mhm.
anyway in similar to us, they don't have
Mhm.
the signature feature. The
Mhm.
email IDs attached with
Yeah.
Mutant Mail can
Mhm.
remain on the warm up cycle, which is very important for people who do cold mailing or which are sending newsletters on a
Mhm.
regular basis. We have that feature in beta as well. This feature nobody supports. There is no one who supports for virtual email IDs
Mhm.
the warm up feature. We support it. So there is, and we have pretty interesting features in pipeline that I cannot disclose. Neither I,
Mhm.
because as soon as you disclose, people ask and start haggling you about the
Right.
timeline,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it builds a pressure on our developers. So that is the reason we don't have a public roadmap, but we keep on releasing features. If you will
Yeah.
see our update page, we do have an update page on our website.
Mhm.
We keep on releasing feature almost every week or every 15 days, something or other.
Okay.
So it's pretty active product, but
Mhm.
we don't have a roadmap because we don't want to pressurize our developers on that.
Okay. So we can say that Mutant Mail receive, reply, and send all your domain emails from a single inbox, isn't it?
Yes, yes, and
Okay.
yes, that is correct. And your inbox can be anything. It I
Hmm.
demonstrated with a Gmail ID, but
Yeah.
it can be your self-hosted email ID. It can
Hmm.
be your Hotmail ID,
Hmm.
MS Office ID of Outlook 365 ID,
Hmm.
Google Worksuite, anything
Okay.
basically,
Okay. So
anything
our
works.
yeah, so our headache of maintaining the multiple hosted email IDs is now fumed away with Mutant Mail.
Correct, correct. As also you can save up on email hosting cost if you are actually paying, because
Hmm.
recently Google Workplace or legacy Google Suite, where people
Hmm.
were getting their free professional email IDs,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
they have removed that tire. So there is no free version from Google anymore. If you will see at the GoDaddy, they
Hmm.
removed it in February, I believe, and they are charging
Hmm.
$12 per year per
Hmm.
email ID. So
Oh,
compared to that, compared to that, we are
yeah,
giving we are
yeah.
very cheap actually.
Really, exactly. So, before ending this session, I just want to ask you that are you satisfied with the service of DealMirror, and how was your experience?
Oh, it was great actually. I was tagged in the first post, and then
Hmm.
I got overwhelming response in the first post, and I feel very welcome. It was great actually.
Unquestionably, the tool is designed very analytically and systematically, then it will get the preferred success. So, if you want a hassle free management of all your domains, email IDs, then go for Mutant Mail. The deal is available at Deal Mirror at an affordable price of $29 only. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And thanks, Abhi, for the wonderful explanation and for sharing knowledge with us. And very good luck for the product success. Thank you so much, Abhi.
Yep. Thanks for having me on the webinar actually.
My pleasure.